So, can we start?
Hello.
Yes, we can start, sir.
Yes, sir.
Pathak sir, you can start.
Okay. ठीक है, good. Namaskar. I am grateful to Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi and Mr. Shiv Pratap Singh that they have provided a forum from where we can discuss our thing. Well, India is one of the most ancient country, and rishis maharshis, they are the depth of the knowledge, and they were the real research workers. Vedas, which is the ancient book available in the world, and in this book, there is in Satyuga, every home, this yajna was performed. Concept of that time was there that we as human beings are creating a lot of environmental pollution. So every house, if the Homanized Agnihotra and yajna is performed, then it will be perfect. And this Satyuga, we call it was a golden period of this country. Then Treta Yuga, if you see, Purushottam Mahapurush, this Purushottam Ram, whole of life he had been performing the yajna. In Treta Yuga and in Dwapar, again Krishna was performing in morning and evening, even though when first this fight was going on, this Agnihotra and everything. In Kali Yuga, there had been some disturbance about this regular performance of Agnihotra, but Maharshi Dayanand, who has established this Arya Samaj, he has said that once the Agnihotra was there, Agna was there, India was completely from any disease and problem. But somehow we have missed it and we have learned it. You see, this environmental pollution is one of major cause of the health. And this COVID-19, it has really created a problem. And what happened? There was one Mr. Gajanan Swami. He took birth in Agalkot in Solapur district, and he is known as a Kalki Avatar. Gajanan Swami, it is not for India, but he thought a Kalki Avatar means how this environmental pollution can be compacted. Actually, I must admit it that this elder Agnotra Yagnas, there was a lot of problem of arranging the material. The mantras were very scientific. If you are very versed in the Sanskrit, you can chant it, but it can't be taken. But the dream of Gajanan Swami was international community anywhere. So he devised with a lot of experience, very simple technology, which the materials which can be available anywhere in the world. It can be chanted even by 5 or 6 years. It is not restricted to any caste and creed. And now, because of this, after studying this technology, he asked Mr. Vasant Paranjpe in 72 and took that there are a number of the people they are promoting in India. You go to outside and Vasant Paranjpe 19 from 1972, he went to different countries and he tried to convince what happened when he went to Germany. Dr. Ulrich Berk, who is going to speaker of this afternoon, he was Vasant asked Dr. Ulrich, I can only speak in English. If you are able to translate in German, in Russian, and Spanish, but so this this our friend, Dr. Ulrich Berk, his PhD in mathematics, philosophy and mathematics. He was teacher, assistant professor in Berlin University, teaching philosophy and mathematics, value of the sciences. But after translating whatever the talk was given by Basant Paranjpe in English, he was translating in German, he was translating in Russian, he was translating in Spanish, and he said he used to talk when we meet it that Dr. Pathak, I said if this is so much internal technology, he left the job and right from 1980, it means 40 years, he has been promoting whole of the world. And if you see, there's but this I must accept you that Basant Paranjpe, he established a five-fold path mission, and with this five-fold path mission, he created a booklet, and in booklet you do whatever the problem, climatic disaster, natural problems, human problem, you see, these things are already there. And the first publication of this book was took place in 1989. So he can foresee because of this in this human behavior, because of the indiscriminate of the use of the chemicals and all this. This is going to be the problem. I request to all of you, kindly try to go through once and twice and see that what he has proven, say 14 years back, what is the problem and you are facing it. Then Ulrich Berg, he travel in whole of the world, country, in all of the world. And right from morning to evening, he's trying to different parts of the country. This is going to his second talk on this forum. What happened after the first talk? I received a number of letters, and on that day there were the five speakers. That's how it was very hurriedly. If we arrange it in a systematic way, then we can learn what is this technology, how we can accept it. So it is good. I welcome Dr. This Ulrich Berk on your behalf and I my behalf. And you see, within 40 years, what have the Ulrich has done? He has written whatever has been done. The title of this book is Suggested Experiment with Agnotra and Homa therapy and what has been done and what can be done. This is a compilation of whole of the UCC in the whole of the world, what has been done. This is also, if you request this Ulrich Berk, he will send on your mail and you can read it. And when I organized one conference in Delhi in 2004, Vasant Paranpe, he came on his own and he tried to convince me, Dr. Pathak, he accept this Agnotra and wait, there is a lot of science. Then right from 2004, I am trying. And these are but somehow, because there are very simple mantras, but somehow mantras are there, people say, and then timing is sometimes critical, they accept it is not possible. But you see, these people, they are trying, and now as on today, I must accept it. 100 countries, this Agnotra is gone. So without taking much of the time, and one must also accept it, that we got a intensive training program at Tapoban. An intensive program, this both had been my teacher, so they found me that what can be done. So I am one of the, I mean, already decided whatever I can do it, but I will request it, kindly hear the talk of the Dr. Hulisberg, see what is the possibility, and the later part of the software will be discussed by Hulisberg. So without taking much of the time, I request Dr. Hulisberg to share his international experiences, what has been already combined in this book, what you can do, and India can be leader, just like Satjuga and all these things. Thank you, Dr. Ruldisberg. Please start your talk.
Okay, thanks a lot for this nice introduction, Dr. Pathak. Anyway, you are a very good ally since many years, helping a lot to spread the knowledge of Agnihotra and Homa therapy, especially in the agriculture and horticulture community in India. So you're really doing great work. Thanks for that. Also, thanks to Dr. Sanjay Trivedi, who was organizing this talk, and to Chief Pratap, who is doing the technical administration. So thanks to you all. So now let us talk about Agnihotra Homa therapy, and I want to show a presentation. So okay. And the presentation is on effects of Agnihotra on the environment. So first I will talk about, I will give a short explanation of Agnihotra, and then talk about effects on Agnihotra on the environment. After that, Bruce Johnson will talk. He wanted to show a video how to perform Agnihotra, but he just messaged me it's not possible because of his internet situation. It's not strong enough to show such a video. So he will just talk. And then he will talk about Homa organic farming, giving the basics and sharing experience and scientific results from India, but also from other countries. Now, Dr. Pathak already had mentioned something about the present situation. And now, of course, everybody is affected by coronavirus and the restrictions like lockdown and so on. That affects all people in all the countries. Of course, there are differences. Some countries is worse and some it's less worse, but still it affects everybody on this planet. Interesting is that studies show that in areas of high air pollution, the rates of infections are higher, and also the mortality from COVID-19 is higher. So also for COVID-19, air pollution is a very important thing. Um, and Agnihotra will reduce air pollution. We'll come to that later. Now, another study which came out last week only that shows that pesticides which are used in agriculture can be found in the air even far away from agricultural areas, even in forests, even in nature reserves. And the pesticides which were found nearly in all the places was glyphosate. That's the worst one. But also pesticides which were banned in Germany since many decades, like DDT and Lindan, were also found. That shows that pesticides not only pollute the soil and the water resources, but also through long-range airborne transport, they pollute the atmosphere in large areas around farms where these pesticides are sprayed. So because of all these informations, more and more people now realize that we cannot continue with agrochemical farming. Otherwise, we would destroy nature. And at some point, no more farming, no more feeding the population would be possible. So organic farming is the only way to go. But there's an apprehension that when we move from conventional, means agrochemical agriculture, to organic farming, then there will be a drop in yield. But with Homa organic farming, there will be no drop in yield. Yields are even higher than with conventional farming. Homa organic farming brings nature back to balance, and thus we get abundant and healthy crops. So what is Homa organic farming? The basic tool of Homa organic farming is Agnihotra, which is a simple fire which you do in a copper pyramid according to the biorhythm of sunrise and sunset. Agnihotra comes from Vedic knowledge. And here you see Bruce, who will talk a little later, performing Agnihotra. Agnihotra is the smallest and basic Homa healing fire. And what you need is this small copper pyramid of fixed size and shape. The ingredients are dried cow dung, pure cow's ghee, unbroken, unpolished grains of rice, 2 Sanskrit mantras in the morning, 2 in the evening, and a timetable of sunrise and sunset exact to the second. So why is this timing of Agnihotra, sunrise, sunset so important? And why do we need these mantras? There is some information given in this ancient knowledge about the sunrise. What happens then? It says that at sunrise, the many fires, electricities, ethers, and more subtle energies emanate all the way from the sun to the earth and produce a flood effect. And that flood has some subtle music in it. And the quintessential sound of that subtle music is the morning Agnihotra mantra. And this is why we have to do the mantra exactly, because that is kind of resonance. And we have to stick to the exact time of sunrise, sunset, because otherwise it wouldn't work, because these energies from the sun would not be there. Interesting, some American astrophysicist showed the same thing. He talks of million ampere currents, which head in towards the Earth at sunrise and out at sunset again. So the same thing from modern astrophysics. The Agnihotra procedure, the fire already should be fully ablaze at the time given in the timetable. And at the exact time, you start with the first mantra, and you add some grains of unbroken pieces of rice, akshata, and after the first mantra, after swaha, you offer that portion of rice to the fire, and after the second mantra, after swaha, the next portion. So the mantras in the morning are Suryaya Swaha. Now you add the rice. Suryaya idam namama prajapataye swaha prajapataye idam namama. You do the offering always with the right hand only. Even left-handed people do it with the right hand because energies of right hand, left hand are different. So what happens is a channel is created around through all the atmosphere, and prana energy, life-sustaining energy, which lies above this atmosphere, comes down through this channel, and an aura energy field is created around all plants nearby. This is why the plants get nutrition. They become disease resistant, stronger, and when the flame dies, this energy comes and is collected in the Agnihotra ash. This is why the ash has healing properties, can be used for healing of humans, animals, and of course for giving nutrition and healing energy to the farm, to your plants also. So what does Agnihotra do? It purifies the environment, atmosphere, water resources, and soil, and thus brings all nature back to harmony. What are the effects in detail? First, let's look at the atmosphere. Important for all plants is that, according to Homa therapy, ancient science, more than 75% of all nutrition to plants and soil comes through the atmosphere. Modern science does not speak much about that. They concentrate on soil analysis and water analysis, but not about the atmosphere. So if the atmosphere is polluted, plants cannot get this nutrition. And recent studies done, for example, in India, at BHU in Varanasi, show that plants really suffer because they don't get enough oxygen, and the leaves they are coated with pollutants, and therefore plants don't grow, and there's a lot in loss in yield, a drop in yield of maybe 15 to 20% just because of this air pollution. But if you perform Agnihotra, then you make the atmosphere more nutritious and fragrant, and a type of protective coating comes on the plants, and diseases, fungi, pests do not thrive. The plant's capacity to breathe increases, and the toxic effect of choking to death due to atmospheric toxins is eliminated. Now, how does Agnihotra purify the atmosphere? Some examples. Some research was done in several places in India and other countries also. And here you see a petri dish was opened before Agnihotra and kept open for, say, 10 minutes. And then it was sent for incubation. It was incubated for 24 hours. The same thing was done after Agnihotra. The petri dish was open for 10 minutes and then incubated for 24 hours, 4 hours again. And you see left side how many bacteria colonies are there, and right side nearly none. And these are the results in details. That is one of the publications. It was published in more places, but that's just one of the publications. That comes from Agricultural University in Palampur. Not only biological air pollution and so on, but also chemical and physical air pollution. Chemical air pollution is mainly SOx and NOx, but physical air pollution is mainly particulate matter. And you can see here that there is a a little bit of an increase right after Agnihotra, but then there's a decrease, and after 12 hours, all these values go down by 30 to 40%. And that is just by one Agnihotra only. It doesn't matter whether it's from morning Agnihotra or evening Agnihotra, both work same. And of course, it would be really interesting to see what happens if you continue, because Agnihotra, as Dr. Pathak mentioned in his introduction, that is something which should be done every day, morning and evening. So as it was done in the golden age of India. So we have to come back to that. And then if you perform it regularly, morning and evening, all these values will come down, 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 and you will have a very healthy atmosphere. Negative ions in the air, negative ions indicate fresh air, unpolluted air. And normally any smoke pollutes the air, but with Agnihotra, it reduces the pollution, and this can be shown by the increase of negative ions. That was done, an experiment was done in Germany a long time back, which did show that. Now, what about the water? One experiment was done in Pune some time ago, and they took raw water, which was non-potable, from a river, pretty much polluted, and they poured that water through a glass cylinder, which was filled with Agnihotra ash, and then measured again the water quality of the water which came out at the end, and the water quality was very much better. All parameters improved, especially the bacterial contamination was nearly totally removed. Reduction was 93 to 98%. Another experiment was done about industrial effluent. That was in some textile industry near Bombay. And the effluent was so toxic that aquatic life was not possible. But if they added just half a gram of Agnihotra ash per liter of water, then aquatic life, biotic life was possible again. Also, the COD was reduced by more than half. This is a result from a bore well in Australia. That is in an area in Australia which was very dry, nearly no rains, so water was very scarce. So these farmers drilled a bore well, and happily they got some water, but when they tested the water was highly saline and alkaline. So they could not use the water. pH was 9.5 and salinity was 1150 parts per million. No way to give this to the plants, to the animals, or forget about drinking that water. What they did is they added Agnihotra ash to the bore well once a week and performed Agnihotra next to the bore well every day. And within 6 months, pH came down from 9.5 to 7.2, salinity from 1150 to 720. And that means that water, according to the regulations of World Health Organization, was considered to be drinking water. So practically they could save their farm just by performing Agnihotra next to the bore well, adding Agnihotra ash from time to time. Now, what about the soil? Only recently, scientists take more notice of the soil and they talk more of soil health. And that's really important. There's one Sanskrit Sanskrit text which was written approximately 1,500 before Christ, means 3,500 years ago. This says, "Upon this handful of soil, our survival depends. Husband it, and it will grow our food, our fuel, and our shelter, and surround us with beauty. Abuse it, and the soil will collapse and die, taking humanity with it. And according to information from the FAO, Food and Agriculture Organization of the United Nations, now already 1/3 of the world's soil has been degraded compared to 1960. And they say if you continue with the normal agrochemical way of farming, in the year 2050, we will only have 25% of soil, productive soil left compared to 1960. And that is definitely not enough to feed a growing number of people. So we have to take care of the soil health. And the soil has to be rejuvenated, and for that, Homa therapy is a very good method. Homa therapy rejuvenates the soil from the level of viruses, bacteria, fungi, algae. And in this way, a healthy microflora and microfauna is created. What happens, you see here. You know that plants need phosphorus. Everybody knows that. So that is one of the main nutrients which farmers give to the plants, NPK. That's well known. But also it is known that phosphorus is there in the soil normally more than enough, but it is there in a non-soluble form. If it's not water soluble, then plants cannot make use of it. So that was an experiment done maybe 30, 40 years ago in US, Denver, Colorado. And they tested the water-soluble phosphorus in soil before and after adding Agnihotra ash. And you see here, there was an increase of maybe 3 times or 4 times more if you added Agnihotra ash. Now the question is, in Germany, maybe 15 years ago, they did the same experiment. They confirmed these results. The question is, of course, how come? What is the underlying mechanism? How does Agnihotra help to make phosphorus water soluble? So there was one hypothesis, and that is that phosphorus solubilizing bacteria are responsible for that increase. And this hypothesis has been confirmed recently by studies done in Gokarta College in Ratnagiri. Dr. Pathak went there with me. We discussed with the scientists and suggested they do this experiment, and they really did it. What they did is they added Agnihotra ash to the soil, 1%, and measured the nitrogen-fixing bacteria and the phosphorus solubilizing bacteria. And they found out that by adding Agnihotra ash to the soil, there were 100 times more nitrogen-fixing bacteria and even 1,000 times more phosphorus solubilizing bacteria. And interesting enough, at the same time, harmful fungal flora was controlled by adding this Agnihotra ash. That was an interesting result. Another experiment was done by Dr. Ram at CSIR in Lucknow, the institute where Dr. Pathak was director before, and Dr. Ram was his assistant. And Dr. Ram did a lot of tests with Agnihotra ash, and he could show that pathogenic fungi and bacteria, they did not grow. You see at the right side in this column also control ash. Control ash is the ash which you get by burning the same substances, means cow dung, cow's ghee, some grains of rice. But you do not do the same disciplines of Agnihotra, means you don't use the copper pyramid. You use some other copper vessel, but not the pyramid shape for Agnihotra. You don't do it at the time of sunrise, sunset, and you do not sing a mantra. But otherwise, you burn the same substances, and and you use that ash. So that shows that there is a difference between this Agnihotra ash and control ash. So it is really working. That means you have to perform Agnihotra correctly. It has to be exact vessel, exact time, exact ingredients. By the way, some studies done in some Pune college also showed if you just change one of the ingredients, you will not get the effect of Agnihotra. So in this experiment, Dr. Ram showed pathogenic microorganisms are controlled by Agnihotra. And then he also showed beneficial microorganisms, they thrive if you add Agnihotra ash. One interesting experiment was done in Unnao, that is between Lucknow and Kanpur in UP. Also here, Dr. Pathak was instrumental to set up this experiment. That was in a KVK, and the soil there was very sodic. The pH was 9.86. They took some area and divided in 3 plots. One was with agrochemicals, one organic with vermicompost, and one organic vermicompost plus Agnihotra ash. And they planted wheat, and after 1 season, you see, with agrochemicals, pH did not change. With vermicompost, organic, pH came down by 0.8, which is not so bad, which is already a good result. But with vermicompost plus Agnihotra ash, the pH came down by more than 2 points. In the end, it was 7.67. That is nearly neutral. So with this pH, plants could thrive. Also, they found that potash and phosphorus were found in more abundant quantities in the plot with Agnihotra ash. Now, you could say, okay, you add Agnihotra ash and the pH goes down, you can solve the problem with sodic soil. But also, if you have acidic soil, Agnihotra helps. There was one farm in Poland, pH was 4.4, very acidic, and the government agricultural engineers, they said, don't even try, it's no use, nothing will grow. And also that was the experience of farmers nearby that just could grow potatoes, but nothing more, no vegetables, not possible. But still, these people tried, of course, used their Homa farming methods, performed the Agnihotra, and added Agnihotra ash and added some compost. And you see here, they grow everything, all the vegetables, flowers, and even tomatoes. Nobody in this area grows tomatoes, but they have an abundant yield of tomatoes every year. I stay there part of my time when I'm in Europe, and I see, and every year the same thing, wonderful results, wonderful harvests. Now, as we have approximately 7 million hectares of sodic and saline soil in India, and 6 million hectares of strongly acidic soil. Strongly acidic means pH is less than 4.5, similar to the situation in Poland. It's a lot of land. It is 30 million, either sodic or acidic. And if these lands could be reclaimed and made productive again, that would help a lot to increase agricultural production and feed a growing number of people. So why not start such a small project on either acidic or sodic soil or both? The investment for such a project is manageable. It's really not much, but the possible gain is huge considering all the areas which could be made productive again. Remember, 13 million of hectares. Okay, this is what I wanted to tell about the effects of Agnihotra Homa therapy on the environment in relation to agriculture. Because without a healthy environment, without healthy atmosphere, soil, and water resources, we cannot produce. So we have to go back. So farming, till now, farming was helping to destroy our environment. Now, if we go back and if we do organic farming, at least we do not make the situation worse anymore. But if we go for Homa organic farming, we not only stop the pollution, but even we counteract the pollution. That is a solution to the pollution. And for that, Homa organic farming can be a very good help. I thank you very much. And now Bruce Johnson will talk more about the application of these methods in the field of agriculture and Homa and horticulture. Thank you.
Detailed account. Now the next speaker, and incidentally they had been my teacher for 5 days intensive program. We got it at Tapovan, and they convinced me that there is only alternative provided you go for whole of the country. So I think my comment I will give last. This, but I will request Dr. Bruce Johnson. He's basically BSc, pure science graduate, and after doing number of the things, along with Mrs., they have established a NGO, and they are the volunteers for training the whole of the community in the world. They are going different places, and that is one beauty with this at his home at the Tapovan small village in Jalgaon district, right from 2001. Can you imagine? Continuous Tremcom is going on as his family is doing, farm laborers are doing, and the adjoining people they are also coming and they are doing it. Also, we got a training program here, and uh, this 3 days program you have, and then a wonderful book has been planned. The money was given from this Planning Commission of Government of India. I was the National Horticulture Mission. It was the Homa organic farming into the mainstream of Indian agriculture. I think now with your participation and the reaction what I am getting, and we all will be available at your disposal. Bruce will be available, Ulrich will be available at mail within 20 hours they responded, and you can see what is the field application, and then we can interact whatever the time left. So Bruce, please talk our field experiences, which I have seen it, and I must tell you, whatever the experience Dr. Ulrich Berk said in India, I had been a partner going to different places and visiting at one of the participants that this is working. Somehow I am not able to ignite the people of scientists here. So I think this talk is going to add something. So without taking much of the time, I'll request Bruce to deliver his talk. Bruce.
Thank you very much. Can everybody hear me? I hope so. Thank you, Dr. Pathak, for that very nice introduction. I'm very happy to be with you today as well for this opportunity and this webinar. And thank you also to Dr. Ulrich for the first session. I wasn't able to see all that session because Agnihotra actually happened right in the middle of that. So I've just come directly from my Agnihotra. So without further ado, let's start. I'm going to start screen sharing now. Let me just see what can happen. So here's my screen share. I hope everybody can see. So my topic today is home organic farming. Today, the major issue of our time, I believe, is pollution. The planet is now contaminated with many different types of pollution. We have acid rain. Scientists now tell us that all the rain that falls is now acid rain. Then we've got destruction of soils, which has been going on for the last 40 or 50 years now. Every year, more and more topsoil disappears from our farming lands. Radioactivity is another dangerous pollution, which is now increasing in the environment. And then we've got on top of that problems with the global warming, and also that now these problems with the genetically modified organisms. I believe these are also a type of pollution, a biological pollution, which will not degrade over time. It will only increase because it self-replicates. So why Homa organic farming? The reason all these factors, these pollution factors combined, threaten our life on the planet. And there is no modern technology which can deal with this multi-sided attack. Is there any such technology which can provide a solution? I believe the answer is yes. The answer comes from the ancient science, the ancient super science of Vriksha Ayurveda, which is now presented as Homa organic farming in the modern era. So what does that mean? Homa organic farming. Homa organic farming means the application of the principles of Homa therapy to organic farming practices. What is Homa therapy then? Homa therapy means healing and purifying our atmosphere, soil, and water resources with the medium of fire. The central idea in Homa therapy is you heal the atmosphere, and the healed atmosphere heals you. And of all the 5 practices given in the ancient science of Homa therapy, Agnihotra is the basic Homa. I'm not sure how much Dr. Ulrich covered about Agnihotra, but I'll just briefly explain a little bit. Agnihotra is performed in a copper pyramid vessel of fixed size and shape. The materials we burn are dried cow dung, pure cow's ghee, unbroken, unpolished rice grains, to accompaniment of a simple Sanskrit mantra, and at exactly the timing of sunrise and sunset, exact to the second. So you prepare the fire using these materials in the copper pyramid. The fire should be fully ablaze at the time of Agnihotra, when we start the mantra. You take a few grains of this unbroken rice, preferably less polished, and you add a few drops of ghee to that rice, divided into 2 portions, and then you sing the mantra. There are 2 swahas, there are 2 offerings to the fire, and so the offerings are these 2 portions of rice mixed with ghee. Here is the Agnihotra mantra. I'll just sing it for you. Suryaya swaha, Suryaya idam namama, Prajapataye swaha, Prajapataye idam namama. That's the mantra for sunrise. And then at sunset, Agnaye swaha, Agnaye idam namama, Prajapataye swaha, Prajapataye idam namama. Then for Homa farming, we also require 2 more additional Sanskrit mantras. These are very simple Sanskrit. Even foreigners like me can learn these mantras very quickly and sing them quite well. So the first additional mantra we have is the Vyaruti mantra, which we use in the Vyaruti home, and it goes Bhu Swaha Agnaye idam namama, Bhwa Swaha Vayave idam namama, Swaswaha Suryaya idam namama, Bhur Bhwa Swaswaha Prajapataye idam namama. And then the last mantra of the 3 important mantras for Homa farming is what we call the Om Trambakam mantra. This goes like this. Om Trambakam Yajamahi Sugandhim Pushtivardhanam, Urvarkamivabandhanan mrityor mukshiyamamritat swaha. So there are the three mantras. In Homa farming, we require what we call a resonance point. So resonance technique is a part of this Homa therapy where simple practices like what I've mentioned, these simple Homas, Agnihotra, Vyaruti Homa, Om Tamakam Homa, are used to heal large areas of diseased land in a short period of time. One resonance point requires 10 new Agnihotra pyramids charged with mantras and positioned on a farm in a special configuration by a Homa therapy volunteer who is trained to install resonance points. The same human effort is required to heal 1 acre or to heal 200 acres. So it becomes very cost and labor effective in larger areas of land. One resonance point can treat up to 200 acres. 2 simple huts are required, built with simple, inexpensive natural materials locally found. Nobody lives in these huts. They are simply to protect the person performing the Agnihotra and the other Homa fires from the sun and rain, and to prevent animals and from entering and interfering with the equipment. Here's a diagram showing a layout of a typical Homa organic farm. In the middle we have the Agnihotra hut, where Agnihotra is performed 2 times every day, sunrise and sunset. Near the boundary we have the second hut, where we practice the Om Tambakam Homa for several hours every day. And then on the boundary, 4 pyramids are erected on columns of mud to the north, south, east and west, exactly from the Agnihotra resonance hut. Here we show a diagram of a number of farms which can cooperate in a Homa organic farming complex. Homa organic farming is ideal when done as a cooperative. And here we see 20 or so farms, all in the same geographical area, all covered by this 200 acres resonance point. This results in a sharing of the labor and the costs between all the farms, and then Homa farming becomes extremely manageable. So with Homa farming, the quantity of the harvest per acre will be greater than that of any other method known to modern science. The harvesting time is reduced. Taste of Homa produce is better. There is an improvement in color and texture of the harvest. Homa produce has a longer shelf life. Natural predators appear automatically to control insect pests. Disease resistance increases, and the cost of production is much less than with other methods. The cow has a very important role to play in Homa farming. Of course, it's very important for all organic farming, but particularly for Homa farming, because the cow provides us with the essential ingredients which we need for the Agnihotra and the Homa fires. This is the cow dung, which we make into cow dung cakes, and the cow urine, which we use during the planting, and the cow ghee, which is also essential for the Homa fires. Then also, the cow products are used in another wonderful biofertilizer product which we use, which is called Biosol. I'll go into that a little bit later. Now, a lot of people don't realize that as well as that, I'm on a webinar, Abe, sorry. As well as that, the breath of the cow is extremely healing for all of nature. Even tuberculosis was healed by the breath of the cow. This is an Ayurvedic treatment called Goshta, common in Scandinavia 100 years or more ago. And also where the hooves of the cow touch the soil, it becomes more fertile, according to ancient Vedic knowledge. Excuse me a minute, I've just got a call. Hello, Abe? Hello? 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 Yes. I'm in the middle of a webinar. I can't talk. Let us talk a little bit more about this Homa biosol. This is the wonderful bioproduct which has been developed on several Homa farms now. It consists of fresh cow dung cakes, fresh cow dung from the farm, some cow's urine, vermicompost, Agnihotra ash in water, and a copper shoe yantra. These are the ingredients which go to make up the biosol. You mix all these things together in a tank, seal the container, and then after 7 days you can open the relief valve, ventilation valve, to prevent the container from bursting. The biosol slurry is ready for use after 30 days. And you need to leave some of the inoculant in the bottom of the tank for starting the next batch. Biosol can be used in a water solution as fertilizer. 3 kgs of solid biosol can be used with several litres of Agnihotra ash water. The liquid biosol can also be used as a foliar spray. 1 litre of the biosol to 15 litres of Agnihotra ash water. And we require 15 to 20 litres of biosol per acre per month. That means 1 tank per month will cover about 20 acres. So it's a very, very good product, and we've had extremely good results with this on our Tupper 1 Homa farm. So once a week is enough usually, but if you've got severe problems, you may have to increase the frequency of spraying even every 2nd day until the problem is brought under control. Now I want to quickly show you some scientific data which we've collected over the last few years, which demonstrates how powerful this Homa farming is compared with other farming methods. First of all, I'll show you some studies which were done in Tamil Nadu Agricultural University in Uti, in Tamil Nadu. The lead scientist in those studies were Dr. Selvaraj, and they were studying in this particular set of studies several horticultural crops, cabbage, potato, and also the flowers, rose, carnation, and gerbera. So they divided into protocols. There was simple organic farming. There was organic farming with Agnihotra, which we call Homa farming. There was conventional chemical farming, and there was an absolute control as well to compare. The results showed that with Homa farming, Agnihotra plus organic, Agnihotra plus organic, we had higher yields and also increased disease resistance. And here are some of the data from these trials, these studies. In this particular case, this is the incidence of leaf spot disease in cabbage. And you can see I've highlighted in red the Homa organic result, which is much superior to the other methods. You can see the percentage of disease much less at 3.0%, and the yield was also greater with the Agnihotra plus organic. Here we have a similar slide showing yields and disease in potato. So again, in red you can see the Homa organic result, much less of the disease, the late blight disease, and also a superior yield. And here we have a slide showing the results with the rose variety passion, the rose flower. And again, here, if you look at the results carefully, you can see that the Homa organic farming, which is called Organic plus Agnihotra in red, has superior results in all the parameters which were tested. The fresh flower weight, stalk length, the flower diameter, number of flowers per plant per year, and the shelf life, all superior in the case of the Homa farming. Here's another slide about the same, about the rose variety passion. You can see here that the Homa farming result showed much less of the powdery mildew disease than the other farming methods. And then I want to move on then to another university which did a lot of testing with Agnihotra a few years back. This is the CSK Himachal Pradesh Agriculture University in Palampur in Himachal. And the scientists involved in this set of studies were Dr. Rameshwar, Dr. Poonam, and Dr. Atul. And you can see, as I go through these slides, that in the case of lemongrass and marigold, which were two of the crops which were examined, yield increased, oil content also increased, and the disease resistance also increased. Here, there is one slide, for example, showing the situation with lemongrass. And again, in red, I've highlighted the Homa organic farming treatment. Om means organic farming, and Agnihotra ash, that means the organic farming with Agnihotra as Homa farming. So you can see the results here show the same as before with the other university. The results with the Homa farming in red are superior in all the parameters tested to the other methods which were tested. And then another agricultural university which did quite some good work with Homa farming studies was the University of Agricultural Sciences in Dharwad in Karnataka several years back, under the guidance of Dr. Pramod Basaka. He's no more, unfortunately. He was a very great man. And he was guiding several of his MSc students in the preparation of their theses with different studies of different horticultural crops combined with Homa organic farming. In particular, there were 4 studies. One was for on tomatoes, one on cabbage, another on soybeans, and another on okra. And the parameters were studied were the yield, pest and diseases, quality, nutrient content. So we'll see the next slide. This is a slide which demonstrates the different types of treatments which those various crops were treated with. And T4 and T4 I think is the main one, T4 and I think T6. These were the ones with the Agnihotra Homa ash used in the soil application and the foliar application. So here are the results, what we have for the 4 various types of crops, the soybean, the cabbage, the tomatoes, and the okra. And you can see with the parameters which were tested, there is, first of all, with soybeans, the increase in the biomass was 28%, the increase in the straw yield was 26%, the increase in the grain yield was 26%, the increase in 100 seeds weight was 17%, nodule count per plant increased by 180%, and the nodule dry weight per plant increased by 172%. That's the increase with Homa farming over conventional non-Homa farming methods. And then in cabbage, we can see the same thing. There is an increase in all the parameters which were measured. And the same applies to tomatoes and okra as well. In each case, the parameters showed a superior result with the Homa farming as compared to the conventional farming. Here's another slide demonstrating some of the disease and insect attack results. For example, in tomatoes, incidence of leaf spot was decreased by 37%. Also, insect attack was also decreased by 40%. In the cabbage, there was a decrease in the incidence of black rot and black spot leaf, head borer, diamond-back moth larvae per plant, and the Spodoptera litura larvae per plant also, all decreased. Soybeans the same. We saw the same decrease in the incidence of the rust disease and insect attack, and the same with okra, a decrease in the powdery mildew disease, alternaria leaf spot, fruit borer, and the Spodoptera also. So you can see that all these studies very much confirm that Homa farming is really radically superior to all the other farming methods. Here's another example from soybean, for example. Soybean showed 5% increase in protein content with Homa farming, 9.5% increase in oil content with Homa farming. And then also the enzymes were also increased, 35% increase compared to the control in the unsprouted seeds of beta amylase. And after germination, this increase went up to 66%. Invertase, another enzyme, was increased by 45%, and then after germination, the increase went up to 100%. So very spectacular results here in these parameters which are being tested. Here we have the case of cabbage also. The TSS, according to the Brick scale, the value of cabbage increased by 39% compared to the control. Ascorbic acid increased by 11%. Free phenols increased by 18%. Protein content increased by 16%. Nitrogen content increased by 19%. Sulfur by 71%. Potassium by 19%. And also there were increases in micronutrients like copper, zinc, manganese, and iron. Then we also have increase in parameters like ascorbic acid, lycopene, phenols, and the TSS due to soil and foliar application of Biosol. This is the Biosol slide in tomato. So those are very, very spectacular results. I think I'm running a little bit short of time. Maybe I've just got time to show a few slides about our practical experiences here in Topawan. Topawan farm is in Jalgaon district in Maharashtra, North Maharashtra state. When we first started Homa farming here, the soil was very, very deficient. That was a picture out. High salinity, the topsoil layer was reduced to less than 10 centimeters in parts. Fine clay soil developed huge cracks in summer, and in the wet season, surface was sealed like cement. It was very, very difficult to grow anything. And we've seen a miraculous recovery of the soil here in Topawan in the years since we've been applying the Homa farming. There's also produced crops of superior yield and taste, and no troubles with insect attacks. And these fantastic results all due to the Agnihotra Homas and the Homa organic farming techniques. That's a picture of our Agnihotra hut, simple bamboo structure with grass on the roof. I'm still doing Agnihotra in that hut every day, 20 years later. Here are some of our spectacular results in Topawan. Banana. Look at those bananas. Let's have a look at the bananas again. When this slide was taken, there was severe damage to the banana crops in Jalgaon due to carpa fungus disease, which is known as sigatoka in the South American countries. They've also had several very bad seasons there. But in the Topawan Homa farm, we had no such problem with carpa disease, and we had huge yields of bananas rather, with bunches weighing up to 38 kilos. And then, if I can move on to the next slide, if PowerPoint will allow me. Okay, that's not the next slide. The next slide is this one. Cotton. Jalgaon is also a cotton growing area, and these two pictures show a conventional agrochemical cotton crop and our Tupper 1 Homa organic cotton crop. Pictures were taken on the same day in October. Planting dates were 2 days apart in May month. And as you can see from those details at the top, our yield was slightly increased, but the profit and loss, the economics, was very much better because of the very costly agrochemicals which are used on normally on conventional cotton. This slide shows you that details of the economics of the cotton crop. 55% was the profit we incurred in that particular year, as compared to a 9% loss on a neighbour's farm who was using chemicals and pesticides. Also, we've grown turmeric in our farm. It's not common to see turmeric in the Jalgaon district, and our crops were very, very nice. Of course, not as great a yield as in the turmeric growing areas, but still 6.1 tonnes per hectare was a very reasonable yield in this dryland area. And then I want to mention one or two more examples. Here's an example which Dr. Pathak knows very well. This is the farm of Sri Ramesh Chandra Tiwari in Unnao in UP. He had a very, very spectacular result with his mango production about 10 years before. Normally, mangoes produce about 10 tonnes per hectare. And if we look at all the known techniques, you can sometimes extend that 10 tonnes up to about 14 tonnes per hectare. Now, Sri Ramesh, in the year 2009-2010, recorded a production of 120 tonnes in his 3 hectares of mango garden, which is 40 tonnes per hectare. That is just the most phenomenal result. I'm still in awe. I cannot it's hard to believe that result was achieved, but still, they were the figures. And then there's another wonderful home organic farmer in Karnataka. He had great results with his vanilla crop when the vanilla was in vogue a few years before. When his vanilla was tested in Mysore at the Technological Research Institute, his vanilla content was 36% by weight, compared to normally around 25 to 28% in the commercial farms. Also, he's a sugarcane farmer, and he produces wonderful sugarcane and jaggery on his farm. In 2005, he had an attack by the woolly aphid insect on his sugarcane. You can see those woolly aphids there on the sugarcane. However, the attack was immediately controlled by 2 natural predators, the Micromus igorotus and the Diapha adifidivora, which came automatically. The attack was a result of using impure ghee for the Agnihotra. That's very, very important, that the cow ghee, which has to be used for Agnihotra and the other homas, has to be pure, only from the cow. And so now he's got a very, very spectacular, lush sugarcane after they changed the ghee and brought in some better, some pure cow ghee for their Agnihotra. One more example I'll show you before I finish. This is an example from Mrs. Karen. She's another homotherapy volunteer from Austria. About 20 years ago, she was taking care of a soybean farm near Indore in MP, and she had a spectacular result as well with her soybean crop. I mean, she's not really a professional farmer, but she knows a little bit about farming, and she knows a lot about Agnihotra. And the yield which she achieved was 2,105 kilos per hectare, compared to the previous year, which was 350 kilos per hectare. So it was quite a spectacular result. The other farms in the area averaged about 800 kilos, and the best result was 1,200. So her 2,100 was a spectacular result in that season. So thank you very much for your attention. I hope this has will encourage you to investigate more into the science of Homa organic farming. I think if we go for this in a big way, India can really lead the world in agriculture again. And this is what I'm hoping for. Thank you very much for your attention.
Mr. Bruce, now it is my duty. Hello.
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 Hello, Pratap.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes, Dr. Pathak, we can hear you.
Yeah. Hello. Well, whatever the result has been presented from India, either it is by Dr. Ulrich or Dr. Bruce, I may eyewitness for all these things. It is perfect. I think it must have clicked your mind. If your mind has that clicked, then we are at your disposal. I used to go with Vasant Paranspe at few of the forums, and he used to say that these are my international experiences. You don't believe it as such what we say. You try it, and if it is effective, then go ahead for that. One thing I must convey on my friends that none of them are the agriculture scientists. We are agriculture scientists with low month funds and all these things, but we never believe what is the technology. One thing I again to you, NPK theory, it came from Germany. You must be doing Lebe, and this NPK theory in India is only 60 years old. What damage we have done with this NPK? We had damaged our soil, we had damaged water, and now the first food I used to say, it should be first oxygen, second is the water, third is the food, and this Ulrich has also talked about this pranic urja. Pranic urja cannot be purchased, it cannot be imported. It is only possible once you go for intensive greening of the area and performance of the Agnutra. So Vasant used to say, Acha, another thing, there now a lot of fund is going on nanotechnology. What they have talked with this one establishment of Stone 1 80 hectares in area can be managed. And Bruce showed that number of the farms could be integrated in any form. So this you might have turned this pathetic situation of the small and marginal farmers. And you go to the villages, pathetic situation of the cow. If you are going to perform this Homa organic farming, then it could be a real answer to this for resolving problem. So far in 50 years of my career, I have not seen any technology which is going to improve or boost all the production factor, right from the soil, microbial population in the soil, not the pathogenic one, then earthworm population, and then nitrogen fixation, phosphorus solubilization, everything is there. And then then honeybees, or more than 100 crops are pollinated because of these honeybees. If honeybees are not there, then with the crop growth, nobody is going to pollinate it. And simply the cow, whatever the production factor you can say, I can give you guarantee that it cannot be, I mean, demonstrated with any farming system of this conventional farming. No need of the GM. I used to say, let us have in brinjal a GM technology with a GM variety and with the Homa technology at home and see what we can we do. So this is what PM is asking for. I feel sometimes sorry. PM is requesting why by 2020 you just reduce the 20% use of the urea. I can give you guarantee on the behalf of the 5-foot formation. If you go for this Homa organic farming, there is no need of a gram of chemical, neither as a fertilizer, neither as a pesticide. You must have seen the situation of the sugar cane, whatever. I had been 2 or 3 times gone there. What the impact of oleaginous which can be controlled, and only impact was there because the cow ghee was purchased, and cow ghee purchased ghee was adulterated. Effect was not there. When Abhay Mutalik Desai purchased the cow and ghee was prepared from that cow, two predators they came automatically. They have eaten all these things. So friends, I'm not going to much of the time. And I assure they will be always available, or literature is available. And if you agree, if there is a positive response, then series of lectures we are going to request from all these places what has been discussed, and you can see this is the high time. Ulrich has got a one paper published on this COVID-19 also in the international journal. I think if need be, again he can share with all these experiences. So on the behalf of all the listeners, scientists particularly, I think it must have clicked your mind. If your mind is clicked, then our job is done and we are at disposal. And whatever the literature is there, it is freely available, but only we are comfortable with this mail. You inform your mail to anyone, either to Ulrich or to me, and we'll give you. So with these versions, again I am grateful to Shiv Pratap and Sanjay Dubedi that providing us we are just looking a platform where we can share all these experiences. And we sometimes see these are the technologies, but somehow, because of we say mantras, they cannot understand. They are the Christians. And we have seen some Muslim fellows from Singapore, lady, they came. They are also chanting mantras. They said, Dr. Pathak, we are not related for any, I mean, religion, all this, because it is going. They were from the industry. As if Agnotra is performing in their industry, they have already realized 20% enhancement in the work efficiency of the farmers. What you wanted. So I think this is the right time. If you have clicked your mind, then it is a really born to us. We get energy from you and we'll try to serve you as we can do it. So on the behalf of all of you, particularly scientists, I am greatly grateful to Dr. Bruce and Dr. Ulrich and Mr. Bruce. Particularly, let us continue that India can, with under the leadership of a dynamic president, prime minister, we can really show if Homa and yoga can be combined, India again, just like in Satyuga, can be leader to whole of the community world of, and this is also your thinking. So thank you very much. Again, I am grateful to all of you for sparing time, for sharing all your experiences in 40 years of life. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, sir. Thank you so much, sir. We got some other questions. If you want to
Yeah.
reply, you can reply.
Yeah.
Like Anup Srivastava, he said,
Yeah.
yeah, is there any detailed analysis of Agnihotri as you share with us? He asked.
I think I tell you, Dr. Ram is doing already some work on Agnotra. And this biosol, what I have seen, this biosol, then cow fat in biodynamic farming, and then Panchagabha and Panja farming, these are the far better, we call it the bioenhancer. They can be used anywhere, but I think it requires a lot of the research. If you dedicate it, we said either Dr. Swastha is there or anybody, that whatever the literature, I mean information is there, will come to your expectation and whatever the result will share it. Otherwise, we request let us go for some, I mean, systematic research and work out. But these are the field experiences. If field it is there, and one there is another thing. Once we think these are the possibilities, but these are the possibilities had been already shown in different crops. And let's see what is the science behind that. It is the responsibility to all of the agriculture university, ICR institution, and NAS community and all these things. Thank you very much. I think so. Any more, Suprab?
Anup Srivastava, he asked one more question. Any quantification of Agnihotri in the field experiment?
It is not coming. I am not clear. If you can, I mean, give writing, then we have, I think, answer for all these things because it took for 2004, 2004. I am also involved with all these fellow and all the were things and interacting with all these fellow. I have read his book that whatever what has been done is one just like a Gita. And simply this book on this Homa therapy, our last chance. This is really our last chance. You accept it, you read it, you promote it. Otherwise, the world is going to collapse. How long we can continue with this corona is just simple example. But there are certain examples in the viruses also. But because these are not been tried, so we are not convincing. But I think there is a time that we should. I think Ulrich can give you some of your experiences about this coronavirus, Dr. Ulrich.
Yeah. Um, in brief, the main way of transmitting the disease is through aerosols, through small particles in the air, which are created by coughing, sneezing, but also just by talking. Mini droplets are created. And if you perform Agnihotra, then also the particulate matter is reduced. So these viruses, they do not have their means of transportation. So the chances of getting infected are less. And also, most people who have a severe cause of COVID-19 or those who die from COVID-19, nearly everybody of these people has some pre-existing conditions like high blood pressure, heart diseases, um, asthma, and all these things. And when you perform Agnihotra, all these diseases can be cured, and therefore, even if you would get infected with this coronavirus, the cause of the disease would be less traumatic. So that helps in that way. But what I suggest now for questions, for more questions, if you could please send an email or Chief Pathak, if you could take the questions sent to us by email, because also there was one question about ingredients of Agnihotra ash and such things. Better if I can send the articles which give the answers instead of now just answering from my memory. So I suggest that you, Chief Pathak, that you collect the questions, send to us by email, and then we will answer these people by email. That will be better.
Yes,
Yeah.
sir. Yeah, we will send by mail, sir. All the questions we will send you by mail.
Okay, that would be great. And these people also should add their email addresses so that we know to whom to send the answer.
Okay, thank you so much.
Okay.
Pathak, sir, if you want to conclude something else.
Yeah, I have mail of all this.
Okay, sir. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
So I want to thank all of you, Dr. Pathak, Chief Pathak, Dr. Sanjay Dwivedi, and it was nice to see Bruce again, and very happy that your internet worked today. It was a big surprise.
I'm also happy.
Yeah.
Slowly improving.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now let us see